The city lights of New York glittered beneath the midnight sky like millions of tiny stars scattered across the horizon. On the 43rd floor of a towering skyscraper downtown, the glass walls of a sleek office caught the neon glow of the city, reflecting a restless soul inside. Maya Bennett, a driven entrepreneur and one of the youngest self-made CEOs in the country, stood alone in her corner office. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the city below and her own heavy breathing. Her sharp gaze traced a figure outside, a janitor named Marcus Reed, quietly moving through the corridors with methodical grace. For weeks, Maya had watched Marcus work during the graveyard shift, the way he pushed his cleaning cart with steady hands and never seemed hurried or distracted. There was something dignified about him, something that silently demanded respect, despite the humble nature of his job. She envied that calm. Tonight, though, loneliness pressed on her harder than ever before. Tomorrow night was her company's annual charity gala, a grand event filled with influential investors and media, where she was expected to project success, stability, and happiness. But the truth was far from that. Maya would go home to an empty penthouse and eat dinner alone, the silence thick and suffocating. Something inside her cracked. With a sudden burst of courage, Maya slipped on her heels and walked down to the lobby where Marcus was finishing his shift. He looked up, surprised by the unexpected visitor, his warm brown eyes flickering with curiosity. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked politely, voice steady but cautious. Maya swallowed hard. "I need to ask you a favor. It's going to sound strange." She paused, searching for the right words. "Tomorrow night, I have this event. I need someone to pretend to be with me, just for 10 minutes. She watched Marcus carefully. "Pretend you love me for 10 minutes. Marcus put down his mop and studied her face. Once, he had been a mechanical engineer, chasing dreams bigger than his small Brooklyn neighborhood. But life had dealt him harsh blows, a divorce, a wrongful lawsuit, and now, as a single father, he worked nights to provide for his daughter. He saw the same emptiness in Maya's eyes that he carried in his own heart. 10 minutes? He echoed softly, disbelief mixed with something tender. Maya nodded, her carefully constructed facade faltering for just a moment. The next evening, Marcus hardly recognized himself. The tailored navy suit Maya had sent fit him perfectly, enhancing his broad shoulders and making him look like he belonged in the glittering world of skyscrapers and power deals. His daughter, Sophie, had squealed with delight when she saw him dressed up. "Daddy looks like a movie star," she whispered. As Marcus stepped into the marble lobby of Bennett Enterprises, his heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear, like an actor stepping onto a stage without a script. Maya was waiting by the private elevator, a vision in an emerald green gown that shimmered under the lights. Her hair flowed in loose waves, and for the first time, she looked less like a ruthless CEO and more like a woman longing for something real. "Ready?" she asked softly. Marcus adjusted his tie nervously. "What's our story?" he asked. "We met at a bookstore," Maya answered quickly, forcing a smile. "You were reading about engineering. I asked you a question, and we just clicked. We've been together for 2 months. If anyone asks about the future, just say we're taking it one day at a time." When the elevator doors opened, a dazzling ballroom awaited them, crystal chandeliers, tuxedos, and designer gowns as far as the eye could see. Marcus felt every eye on him as he walked beside Maya, but her warm hand slipped into his, steadying his nerves. That simple touch grounded him. At first, it was all just an act, 10 minutes of pretending. But as they laughed together and exchanged whispered stories, something unexpected blossomed. It wasn't just a performance anymore. The morning after the gala, Marcus returned to his night shift, pushing his cleaning cart through the silent halls. To everyone else, nothing had changed, but everything inside him had shifted. He caught glimpses of Maya behind her office glass, dressed in her sharp suits and poised as ever. Yet now, he knew the laughter that came from her wasn't rehearsed. He knew how her hand felt in his, and that knowledge made the distance between their worlds unbearable. 3 days later, Maya surprised Marcus. Instead of sending the suit back with security, she appeared herself in jeans and a cozy sweater, hair loose around her face. She held out the garment bag awkwardly, her eyes searching his. "I thought I should return this in person," she said quietly. Before Marcus could answer, Sophie ran up from a nearby table where she was coloring. The little girl tilted her head, as children do when trying to decide if someone is safe. "Daddy, is this your friend?" Sophie asked, her voice innocent but sincere. "This is Miss Bennett," Marcus replied gently. "She works upstairs." Sophie waved shyly and went back to her crayons. Maya crouched down beside Sophie to look at her drawing, a colorful house with bright windows, but only one figure standing inside. "That's my castle," Sophie explained, "but it's lonely." Maya hesitated, then smiled softly. Maybe the person inside just needs to open the door. Sophie thought a moment, then added a wide doorway with light spilling out. "There, now people can visit." That innocent picture touched Maya deeper than she expected. For the first time, she didn't just see Marcus's strength and resilience. She saw the small world he and Sophie had built, a world full of warmth and hope. And when Sophie said, "Miss Bennett, you should come to dinner with us sometime," Maya felt something stir inside her that no boardroom victory ever had. But the fragile beginning of their connection soon faced a harsh test. The next week, Maya's chief financial officer, Greg Harrison, barged into her office unannounced. He carried a leather briefcase and wore the smug expression of a man convinced his time was near. He slammed a series of photographs onto her desk, grainy images of Maya walking beside Marcus, entering his modest apartment building, and worst of all, a photo of them sharing a kiss in the hallway outside Sophie's room. "This is what the board is talking about," Greg sneered, leaning back in his chair with satisfaction. "Our investors won't accept this. A CEO involved with a janitor who has a questionable past. It's a liability. End it, or face a vote of no confidence." Maya's hands clenched, but she kept her composure. "Give me 48 hours, she said firmly. As soon as Greg left, Maya realized the decision wasn't about the company or the board. It was about the life she wanted to live. That evening, she met Marcus at a small diner in his neighborhood. The kind of place where people didn't care about last names or titles, just about who you were. She told him everything. The photos, the threat, the risk of losing everything she had built. He listened quietly, jaw tightening. Then, instead of anger, he offered something more painful. "You should choose a company," Marcus said softly. "I don't want you to throw away everything for someone like me." His words were meant to protect her, but they cut deeper than any boardroom ultimatum. For the first time, Maya felt powerless, not because of the corporate politics, but because the one man who had truly seen her had turned away. But losing Marcus was a risk she wasn't willing to take. Monday morning dawned gray and rainy, the city blurred by the steady downpour. Maya stood in front of her bedroom mirror, dressed in her usual black suit and perfect hair. Her reflection was flawless, but the life behind it felt hollow. A home without laughter, warmth, or love, just silence. She thought of Marcus's small apartment, the pictures of Sophie taped to the fridge, and the little girl's colorful drawings. For the first time, Maya saw what real success looked like. In the boardroom, Greg sat confidently, already acting as if Maya's seat was his. But instead of resigning, Maya laid down her own evidence, proof of Greg's misconduct, falsified reports, and attempts to manipulate the board. By noon, Greg was escorted out, and the directors voted unanimously to keep Maya as CEO. She had saved her company, but the victory felt incomplete without Marcus beside her. Later that day, fate brought them together again outside Sophie's school. The little girl ran between them, her small hands grasping as tightly as if she could hold their worlds together. "Daddy," Sophie said firmly, "I told you Miss Bennett would fight for us." Maya looked at Marcus, and he finally let his guard down. Weeks later, in a cozy suburban home with a porch and a backyard, Maya cooked pancakes while Sophie practiced piano and Marcus fixed a wobbly table. Maya still ran a multi-million-dollar enterprise, but her greatest achievement was this, a home filled with love, laughter, and belonging. She had asked a stranger to pretend for 10 minutes, but what she found was a lifetime. Because the true American dream was never about skyscrapers or headlines. It was about finding a place and people worth coming home to. Thank you for watching Classic Stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us how powerful compassion truly is.